What's going on, 5-9 Gaming crew? Lethal one up here, and guys, welcome back to another 5-9 Gaming weekly wrap. You guys know this is the series where we go ahead, we talk about some gaming news from the past week. Starting off which, I have 6 pieces of news on the agenda to go over, and of course, as my brand new segment is, we also started talking about game sales, and again, this is in the US only, so I do apologize for international folks. But before we even begin, if I could speak, even into that, go ahead and check out our first podcast episode. It will be airing either, I think, next to this video, after this video, but it is coming up, and I want you guys to really go ahead and support that. It's really important for the channel, and we want your feedback, right? We want your thoughts. Let it be known in the comments down below. Now we can go ahead and jump into the game sales this week, and again, I usually get this from Lawyer64, but I also got some from IGN deals. There's also been Nintendo deals, Cheap Gamers. Like, there's tons of Twitter accounts that are dropping a bunch of sales, and again, 'tis the season. It is a holiday season, and game sales are everywhere. Speaking of which, GameStop and Amazon are hosting a buy 2 get 1 free, which I totally took advantage of. I just picked up, I think it was the Demon's Souls remake, which I've been dying to get, finally getting it. I got Mass Effect with it, and I think I got Neo the World Is With You. So it was buy 2 get 1 free. Usually get the cheaper game free. And again, GameStop and Amazon are doing it with select games. However, GameStop's catalog just keeps growing. They just added Shin Megami Tensei 5 in there, and I was like, if I would have just waited and known that was going to happen, I would have put that in with my buy 2 get 1 free. But again, if you're in the US, go check those out. Life is Strange 2, the complete season, is $12.77 on PSN. Super Mario Odyssey is $36.27 on Amazon, GameStop, and Walmart right now for the Switch. Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fades edition for PS4 and Xbox on Amazon for $12.90. And I think the Xbox edition one was going like really quickly, so definitely go and check that out. Now, guys, we can go ahead and jump into story number 1, and that is Steam Deck officially gets delayed. Definitely broke my heart when I saw this, but it kind of makes sense. Again, I'm getting this from the official Steam Deck Twitter account. They put out a nice little notice there. The official notice says this: the launch of Steam Deck will be delayed by 2 months. We are sorry about this. We did our best to work around the global supply chain issues, but due to material shortages, components aren't reaching our manufacturing facilities in time for us to meet our initial launch dates. Now, based on our updated build estimates, the Steam Deck will start shipping to customers February 2022. This will be the new start date of the reservation queue. All reservation holders keep their place online, but dates will shift back accordingly. Reservation date estimates will be updated shortly after the announcement. They surely did, because I went back and I checked, and I was someone who wasn't in the initial batch. So if you were in the initial batch of pre-orders, you were promised to get yours, I believe, or I think it was to ship out in December. Now that group, that very first group, is just getting pushed into February. Anybody else who like got it pretty much afterwards, you're getting pushed back. And I checked, and I was originally a part of the Q2 2022 crew, and now mine literally just says after Q2 2022. So that means nothing. That could be maybe by the end of the year, or maybe even 2023. So definitely a big bummer, as this is definitely a device that I'm really looking forward to. Let me know down below, did you pre-order? Does it hurt your feelings as much as it hurt mine? But you know, it just sucks because, you know, we've already seen the chip shortages, right? Other PC part shortages, and again, it's not just affecting the output of like Steam Deck. We're seeing delays and just hard to get of like the PlayStation 5, right? The Series X, even the Switch OLED now. Apparently Nintendo's having some issues too, and this goes for everything. So that's very unfortunate. We can jump into story number 2, and that is Metroid sales numbers are in. Again, we have a bright looking future for Metroid. This is awesome. I'm getting this from the Washington Post by Gene Park. So in a recent interview with Nintendo of America's president, Doug Bowser, again with Gene Park, Doug Bowser said this: Metroid Dread sold 854,000 copies in October in the US, again, only US. This is for physical and digital sales. Bowser claims it's the best launch in the series history. Nintendo is proud enough to announce its numbers, which bodes well for the franchise that has had a shaky sales history. Facts, if you look back at the older Metroid games, they've never really sold that much. It was very like a niche group of people that like really played those games, but seeing the success of this one is awesome news. Additionally, in the article, he told the Washington Post that the company sold 711,000 Switch consoles in the US during October, with 314 of those being the new OLED models. Now, I'm sure some of those OLED models were kind of helping push even the sales of Metroid Dread, because who didn't want to get the new OLED model with Metroid Dread? So I'm sure some of that went hand in hand. But the bigger picture is Metroid is freaking back. And then such a good thing to see Nintendo talk about it, because Nintendo doesn't typically, if ever, really share numbers like that. So again, that's just a good sign that we have more Metroid games to come in the future. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and just segue into story number 3. And that is more Metroid Prime Remastered rumors are circulating. Now I'm getting this from Nintendo Live from Damian McFerrin. He says, industry insider Emily Rogers has claimed that Nintendo's rumored remaster of the original Metroid Prime has finished development. Now, the original rumor circulated around about being a Metroid Prime trilogy, which I remember talking about that before because that was all over the place at one point. There was talks that the Metroid trilogy would just be re-released to the Switch, but now it appears that Nintendo is planning on remastering each game individually. Emily Rogers also said that work on Metroid Prime 1 Remaster started around 2017-2018, so it's definitely been in development for a couple years now, but again, just officially wrapped up over this past summer. This news is also corroborated by another industry insider, Jeff Grubb from VentureBeats. Honestly, I'm not surprised to hear this. I'm sure maybe Nintendo at one point was like, hey, let's just go ahead and, Metroid Dread, if it does at least good enough, decent, let's just go ahead and bring over, right, the Metroid Prime trilogy. I'm sure they weren't going to put too much love into it. Let's just go ahead and just re-release or just port that thing right over to Switch. Now I feel like they were just like, whoa, the sales and the desire, right, for Metroid is clearly there. Let's go ahead now and do individual releases of, right, each Metroid Prime game. Let's go ahead and do like cool remasters for each one. I'm not surprised they're going to try to make more money out of it, but I don't really care as long as they just bring back the Metroid Prime games, because I know a lot of us are still excited for Metroid Prime 4. So I'm curious how long from each one will we see? Like, will we just get one Metroid Prime 1 2022 and then one 2023? I'm just curious how far back they'll do that, going all the way up into Metroid Prime 4. So assuming Metroid Prime 4 is like at least another year or two away, but then again, they just redid that whole development cycle, I think, so who knows. But again, it's just exciting because Metroid, there's just so much Metroid news and it's so great to see it. If you haven't played the Prime games, be on the lookout because Metroid Prime, I promise you, is such a good series. You'll enjoy that one as well. Guys, we can go ahead and jump into story number 4, and that is the GTA Definitive Edition is just not apparently looking so good and playing so good. I'm getting this from Naibo over on Twitter, but in reality, I'm just seeing this from all types of just game people who bought the game, gamers, yeah, and then I saw also content creators just giving like screenshots and stuff too. If you didn't know, Rockstar actually officially pulled the GTA Definitive Edition PC version from their launcher and plans to remove some disruptive files apparently that were, I guess, disrupting the game. But there's definitely more than that before they put the game live again. Lots of day one adopters, again, like the people that I've just mentioned, are reporting tons of just insane visual. I don't even know if they're visual glitches or they're just poorly done visuals to begin with. Lots of crazy character models. Again, if you look at some of these, hopefully we get some screenshots to post up here, but they just look like monstrosities. I have no idea what they were thinking. And it's not just that, there's also lots of reports of frames dropping to the point where it's just not enjoyable. And we're talking about frames dropping on like the PlayStation 5 version of these games, right? I mean, I know Switch had made, the Switch versions had made the same things too, but like, we're talking about like the PlayStation 5 version. I haven't heard anything on the Xbox yet, but the PlayStation 5 I've heard is having the same issues. So I think overall, really bad launch for this. And I'm not too surprised. I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this in the podcast, which if you guys will watch it, you guys will notice it too. There was not too much, like this game got announced, right? This Definitive Edition got announced the end of October and then released like 3 weeks later, I feel like in November. So that was really already kind of weird. The fact that they didn't really show a lot of gameplay going up to the release of this. On top of that, I don't think too many people, if any, got early builds or early versions of this to review and stuff like that. So again, it's all over the place. I think a lot of people are thinking, is this on the same scope as CD Projekt Red, right, with Cyberpunk? And I think it's getting there. It's bad to the point where the PC version got pulled. And so the next step now is people asking for refunds, right? If people are saying they just can't play it, it's unplayable, it's going to get to the point where they start asking for refunds. And then we can say, yep, this finally reached CD Projekt Red status all over again, which is honestly really sucks because, Rockstar doesn't typically, I want to say, have stuff like this. And so to see them, having this type of issue, it's like, oh, come on. Like, what happened here? But I don't know. If you bought it and you're having these issues, please let us know down in the comment section because I would love to hear it. I was going to get it, but now I think I'm just going to hold off a little bit because seeing all of what I've seen, I am good to hold off on that one. Now, guys, jumping into story number 5, and that is apparently happy birthday to PlayStation 5. I completely didn't realize it, but it passed November 12th, and November 12th was the official release launch of the PlayStation 5. Now, I'm getting this article from Andy Robinson over at VGC. This is a pretty cool read, so just bear with me here. It's a little bit long. Sony's PlayStation 5 launched on November 12th, 2020 in the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea, with most of the rest of the world getting it pretty much a week later. The PS5 launched had confirmed to have broken hardware sales records in the US, having enjoyed the highest launch month of any gaming hardware platform in terms of both unit and dollar sales, records which were previously held by the PS4. They had incredible games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, Deathloop, and tons more. Square Interactive Entertainment acquired development studios which we know of Bluepoint, Housemarque, Firesprite was one. They also brought over Nixxes to help with the PC porting, which we've been seeing a lot more PC love from PlayStation as of recent, which is pretty cool. And they also revealed the next-gen PlayStation VR. The article concludes with quotes from Jim Ryan confirming that PlayStation is just getting started and that there are currently more than still 25 games in development for PS5 from PlayStation Studios. And he continues to promise that they are working on shipping more units. As we all know, that is still the biggest issue right now. Honestly, I look back and I'm just like, man, what a year for PlayStation 5. I still think they've dropped so many games in their first year. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they just had like director's cut. I'm like, no, I mean, they had the Miles Morales. They had Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. They had Returnal. Like, they had some new IP mixed in there. And so there's definitely a pretty much excitement, especially with the acquisitions of like Bluepoint games, to see what they're working on. Because we already know Bluepoint is apparently working on some serious freaking heat. And we don't know what it is yet, but you know, you looking at Konami taking down the Metal Gear games for some licensing issues, and it's like, I'm just praying and waiting for them to announce that like they're doing, I don't know, some type of maybe remake. I don't even know. Who knows what they're gonna be doing with Metal Gear, if they are doing anything with Metal Gear. But the point is, I wouldn't know what those 25 games are, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. So again, first year, how crazy. Making some delays, right? We've seen some delays with like God of War for 1 was a big one that we all thought was coming this year. And not with just the delays, but it's exciting to see what's coming, right? We know God of War's Ragnarok, there's a good chance it's coming next year. We definitely can start looking forward to the Horizon Forbidden West game. Like, again, there's just so much to look forward to, and I think in the first year, they've done a lot of good. You know, they've even reversed some decisions, like good on PlayStation for changing up some things. Remember the whole fiasco with Horizon Forbidden West, you know, not getting the upgrade path, and then they're like, you know what, never mind, we will promise the upgrade path. Like, again, congratulations, PlayStation. What a year. I'm honestly really excited to see, you know, 2022 going forward, because it looks absolutely nuts. We can go ahead now and conclude this with number 6, and that is Horizon. Why did I say it right? I think it's Forza Horizon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I mispronounce this game every single time. Forza Horizon 5. I feel like that's how you pronounce it. The review scores are in. This is from, again, Nibel over on Twitter. Literally, this game has a Metacritic score of 91. It is literally a game that is being really contended for Game of the Year, and you have IGN giving it a 10, VGC a 5 out of 5, Windows Central 5 out of 5, Gaming Bolt 10, The Gamer 5 out of 5, Game Informer gave it a 9.5, GameSpot 9, PC Gamer 9, and again, if it's not like an 8 or higher, like that's literally what the scores have been. I've rarely, I think there's only a very few that I've seen that are like giving this game like a lower score. Again, congrats to Xbox Game Studios. You know, they're dropping some bangers out there. I'm not the biggest racing fan, so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm not too big on this one. I was a real big fan of Psychonauts 2 from Double Fine, and so I think Xbox Game Studios is finally dropping some good games. So again, if you're into Forza Horizon, definitely go check that one out, because it's on Game Pass, I believe, so you can play it on Game Pass. So literally can't go wrong with Game Pass. Now, guys, that does it for the stories. Let me go ahead and end it now on the games that released this past week. We had Football Manager 2022 on Xbox One and PC. That was November 9. We had, again, Forza Horizon 5. That's on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, November 9th. The GTA trilogy. I highly recommend please just holding off on that one. Just wait until they drop some updates, some patches and whatnot. Again, that's across the platform. That dropped November the 11th. And Shin Megami Tensei 5, that dropped on Switch November 12th. I've been playing it, and I can't stop playing it. That game is so much freaking fun. If you're looking for a good JRPG to get into, so far, I'm loving Shin Megami Tensei 5 on Nintendo Switch. So go check that out. And guys, again, that is everything for the weekly wrap. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, go ahead and like this video. And if you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And please, please go check out our podcast episode, which either is out before this or out after this. If you haven't already, please definitely go check that out or just be on the lookout for it. And again, I am Lethal1Up, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.